Simple ways you can handle the death of a loved one. After the death of your loved one, get to know that it is not the end, so don't panic. Life after the death of a loved one is not easy. It is very different from what we have imagined. As we experience our loved ones leaving us in different ways, there is no way to predict its impact on us. Our emotions are very high when we think what will happen to our loved ones after their death, and how we will survive without them. It is okay to take time out of your day to be sad and remember the person. This is another way to handle the death of a loved one. When I was recently informed that my brother had died, I was very sad to hear the news, but this event taught me a valuable lesson. It is okay to feel sad and let go of the sadness if you yourself are not able to manage it. A lot of people will try to help you, but not all of them can do it for you. Another way to handle the death of a loved one is by knowing that it's okay to cry. It's a sad day when your loved one passes away, but be assured that it's okay to cry. The longer you can hold on to these painful emotions, and the more you hear them without breaking down, the better. One of the most difficult aspects of dealing with the death of a loved one is knowing that it has happened. Many people will go through a period of denial and questioning their sanity, while others will spend hours or days on end crying in front of their loved ones. It's okay to grieve, but don't let the grief get out of hand and cause you not to be productive or able to function properly. Grief is an inevitable part of life, and it is important to not let it affect your productivity. Some people are more sensitive than others, while others are unaffected by the loss of a loved one. The key is to learn how to deal with your own grief and show empathy to those around you who are going through something similar. Don't turn your grief into anger or blame others for your situation. Grief is a personal and emotional experience that can affect us in many different ways. It's natural to feel sad and angry about a death situation, but it's not okay to turn those emotions into anger or blame others for your situation or for the death of a loved one. During the emotional turmoil of death of a loved one, you may feel angry or even blame others for your situation. But don't turn it into anger or blame others for your situation. When you talk to others about your loss, be honest and listen. It is a good way to handle the death of a loved one. Grief is one single thing we all experience in our lifetime. It can be witnessed, observed and experienced in different ways by different people every day. There are some people who accept it quickly, while others are resistant to it. When talking about losing someone, you have to let go of your own emotions and look at the situation objectively. If you seek help from professionals or friends, let them help you, especially during this period. Don't allow guilt feelings or feelings of betrayal to overwhelm you after the death of a loved one. It is a good way to handle the death of a loved one. The death of a loved one can be devastating, and it is not something that you want to face alone. The bereaved family members often have deep feelings of guilt, and they tend to blame themselves for the death of their loved ones. There are different ways or coping methods that you can use to avoid feeling guilty when you have lost someone dear. Feelings of guilt can lead to several negative effects, such as ruining your self-esteem. After the death of your loved one, if you have any questions, ask a friend or family member to help you. It is a good way to handle the death of a loved one. There are people who will be there to help you with your questions about the death of a loved one. Most people do not want to ask their friends or relatives for help because they are afraid of asking for something that will be perceived as selfish and unprofessional. These people can be a good support, when you needed someone who is more than just a friend or family member. Another way to handle the death of a loved one is to accept that they are gone and never to come back. Once the deceased has been the most close to us, we may feel emotionally ripped apart after their death. It can be very difficult to deal with the death of a loved one, and certainly hard to accept it. After the death of a loved one, our minds tend to control us, and it will constantly think about how we are going to mourn for a period of time. However, when it comes to dealing with the death of someone we love, it is important to understand that they are not coming back, and will never be coming back. Number 10. You will go on to become a very happy and fulfilled person if you take the time to grieve and process your loss in a healthy way. It is during a funeral that you are presented with many issues that are very sensitive. You will feel burdened by the fact that your loved one is no longer alive, but you have to deal with it in a normal way. You will be asked to help the family with some tasks, such as preparing for the funeral, and doing other things such as remembering and honoring the loved one.